Hey Jacob, this is feedback for your second task on air power and coin operations. I'm going to be talking about the structure and about the paragraph. So we're going to be discussing, or I'm going to be discussing your global level of the text. But before I move on to that, in general terms, my impression is that you are very much in control of written English. It's fluent, it's clear what you're saying. There is a great deal of nuance in your language in terms of your vocabulary, and it is by far correct what you write. So it's very good. It seems the impression is very good. Moving on to the structure, the sort of organization of the text as a whole, it is also quite good. There's just one thing that I'm puzzled about, which is that part one and part two seem to be completely separate. I'm not really sure why that is, because it seems to me that there is a connection, these two topics, coin and air power, and then the three theorists. There is some connection here that needs to be more specific. So what you have to keep in mind is that you are in control of creating the coherence in your text, regardless of how fragmented the task you're performing might seem to you. You're the one who has to create the coherence. So just keep that in mind should this happen again, that you think that there's maybe a disconnect between the two, or maybe you don't see there is a disconnect. But it's not really clear to me what your view is on that, because it seems like you're solving task one and then actually you're choosing a different approach to task two. The thing is, though, that both of these two parts of the text work really well. It's just that there's no coherence between them. So you have a really good sort of introduction to the text in general. It does tell me where you're going to go and how you're going to approach writing this text. I would suggest making your introduction a little bit longer and a little bit more specific in terms of what you're going to be doing, and then consider the whole text, not task one, which I think is what you're doing, and then introduce task two. So structure it so that the reader is given this kind of roadmap of the entire text. This is going from A to B. These are the places we'll visit in order to arrive at the conclusion, and then you can signpost throughout the body text so the reader can follow along on the journey. Right. So, as I say, both part one and part two work really well. Part two also has a really good introduction. I like how you present the theorists so that we know what we're dealing with. Maybe elaborate a little bit more on them just to make sure that it's completely clear why we're choosing these three. Are they... Why do we discuss Payward and Mueller? You know, why not three other guys? That would be interesting just to have 2 sentences on who these people are and why it's worth comparing and contrasting them. I like that you structure this comparing and contrasting under these general headings so that I don't get one paragraph on Pave, one on Mueller, and so on, because that doesn't give a lot of sort of overview of what it is we're comparing and contrasting. The way that you do it on these different headings means that I understand what the purpose is. So while it's obviously a bit more tricky to do that, but it does work really well here, I think. So that's to do with the overall structure. Going a bit down into detail with the paragraphs and how you organize your information in paragraphs. I think for part one, some of them are a bit... I mean, you are in control of them, and they do have one message, maybe sometimes a little bit information heavy. So you kind of, some places a little close to maybe having more than one message per paragraph. I think generally speaking, you kind of keep it in check, but consider that for the future, that maybe just go back and check if there's anything that can be made more concise or maybe sometimes you need to divide a paragraph into 2 paragraphs. Outside of that, inside your paragraphs, you're very good at signposting, and you are very good at writing fluently, so that I understand how I'm meant to sew together the different information that you give. So that's pretty good. So that means that the overall impression of your text is one that is coherent, both at paragraph level. In the 2 parts separately, they are coherent. What we need is the really global coherence, the really overall coherence, which you have to do, even if you think that the task description is too fragmented. Okay, I'm looking at my paper here. I think I've said everything I need to say to you. Very good job. The things that I'm pointing out here, I think you can manage quite easily if you just simply pay attention to it next time. So I'm looking forward to seeing your task 4. I'll see you on Friday. If there are any questions for me in the meantime, you can always email me. Okay, bye.